On May 1st, 1974, Belize became a member of the Caribbean Community, CARICOM. CARICOM is an organization that seeks to integrate cooperation among its member countries in various sectors, including but not limited to education, economics, and trade, among others. With Belize's Prime Minister Dean Barrow recently taking over the chair of the CARICOM Secretariat, the Secretary General, Erwin LaRock, was in Belize on a short visit. Whilst on the morning show today, LaRock spoke of the purpose of the visit.
I'm here primarily to brief Prime Minister Barrow, who is the chairman. He assumed the chairmanship on the 1st of January.
Okay.
And 10 years for 6 months. And as is normal, the chairman is to be briefed on what's happening, and also to hear from him what is his proposals for the next 6 months as we go forward. Prime Minister will be hosting the intersessional meeting of the heads of government here in Belize on the 16th and 17th of February. We expect a very, very good and reasonable turnout of our heads of government to discuss a number of issues going forward. And of course, the chairmanship does not end with chairing the meeting. There are a number of other issues that, from time to time that the chairman has to attend to on behalf of the rest of the member states. So I'll be working very, very, very closely with him, and hopefully I'll be visiting Belize in the next 6 months from time to time. Prime Minister is no stranger to matters CARICOM. He has a portfolio. We have an arrangement in CARICOM where each head of government, well, I think almost all heads of government, but there are one or two who don't, have a portfolio assignment, a particular area of interest that they have political oversight on in terms of giving guidance. So if something happens in between a session in a particular area, I know who to call a particular Prime Minister to speak with. Prime Minister has a portfolio of justice and governance, which entails our general governance arrangements of the community. It entails issues pertaining to our treaty, the legal issues pertaining to our treaty. And of course, he has a very keen interest in the CCJ, which is one of our premier institutions, of which I am very proud.
There are several areas in which the CARICOM works towards, among them being the improvements in standards of living and work, sustained economic development, expansion of trade economic relations, as well as international competitiveness. According to Secretary General LaRock, there are 4 main pillars that the organization is built upon.
Covers quite a broad area of issues. The Caribbean community, first of all, is not just the CARICOM Secretariat. We're made up of the Secretariat, which is the administrative organ of the community, but there are also a number of specialized institutions in CARICOM, such as the Climate Change Center, which is located right here in Belize. We cover 4 broad areas, very broad areas. One is economic integration, that will deal with all matters of trade and agriculture and services and the like. We do also human and social development, which covers education, health, culture, just to name a few. The youth is very critical for us as well. Another pillar of our work is in foreign policy coordination, where we seek as best as possible to represent ourselves collectively overseas, not in terms of physical, but in terms of our joint policy, joint approaches to that sort of thing. And finally, in terms of security coordination, cooperation as well. That's the 4th pillar. So it's quite a broad area. I mean, we tend to be known mostly for trade, but a lot of good work is happening in the other areas. And I think if you have to do a proper scorecard of what CARICOM is, you need to take all of those into account.
With 15 countries forming the Caribbean Community, CARICOM, the Secretary General says reform is essential. It is on that platform that LaRock came into office in 2011.
I came on board on a platform of reform of the community, reform of the Secretariat, to try to be more effective, more relevant in the direct challenges that we face in our day-to-day lives, so that we can be more relevant to our people. We prepared a strategic plan, a 5-year strategic plan for the community, not for the Secretariat, but for the entire community. I took part in the consultations that took place here in Belize in 2013, I think it was, early 2014. I actually visited and had wide-ranging consultation every single member state. And we have this plan which is guiding the work for the next 4 to 5 years. And we've highlighted 4 or 5 areas that we really want to focus on. Economic resilience, environmental resilience. We need to strengthen our human and social development, HR, our ability to, and technological resilience, and a number of these areas that we've identified. And we're focusing on coordinating these activities with not just the Secretariat, that I keep repeating, the member states as well, as the various institutions. We all have to work together in terms of being able to deliver more and better to our clients, which is the member states.
The 15 states that form the Caribbean community are Antigua and Barbuda, Bahamas, Barbados, Belize, Dominica, Haiti, Jamaica, Grenada, Guyana, Montserrat, St. Lucia, Suriname, St. Kitts and Nevis, St. Vincent and the Grenadines, and Trinidad and Tobago. LaRock left Belize today and is scheduled to return next month. Like every organization, there are concerns and challenges that will be experienced as the work progresses in meeting its objectives. The CARICOM organization is no different, as they too have concerns ranging from the debt of its 15 member states to climate change, free trade, and access to financing. Secretary General Erwin LaRock spoke of those concerns, as well as others that they are tackling, including the issue of de-risking, which Belize has felt the brunt of.
There are a number of other issues that we are quite concerned about that we'll be working on collectively. The whole issue of the CARICOM single market economy, how we make it more relevant in the day-to-day lives of our people. We've been putting in place what I like to call the legal and policy infrastructure in place for the CSME. So it allows for free trade, it allows for certain things. But our countries have been suffering through economic issues, fiscal issues, since the global financial crisis of 2007, 2008. And many of them are still feeling the weight of that. And we know the global situation of the economy. And how do we make the single market more relevant to some of those issues? How do we address the issue of the high debt, which almost all of our countries have experienced? And a more recent development, which is part of that, which is part of other global issues, is the whole issue of de-risking and the fact that the correspondent banks are moving away from us. I know Belize is badly affected, but it's affecting many of our member states. Perhaps Belize is one of the most worst affected. So these are some of the issues in terms of our international relations, in terms of issues that impact on our economy, whether it's individually or collectively, that we're going to be focusing on.
Another aspect that is being given top priority is education, which Secretary General LaRock says is key in ensuring that it is up to par in order to secure the economies of CARICOM's member states.
We have a major review going on the entire education system. The heads of government set up a Human Resource Development Commission that will look at our education system from pre-primary all the way up to tertiary, to ensure that the kind of training that we'll be putting forward and we'll be delivering the kind of persons that will be relevant to a future society. It's all nice and good to learn certain subjects, and when you come out you can't get a job because it's not relevant to the day-to-day development of your community. We know that information and communication technology is a major driving force in everything that we do in our lives. And we need to train our people in all parts of life, not just in the high-tech people, but the users and in e-government. And so we're looking at all of these. So we have a commission that has set up its work on that issue. I'm very excited about that because I feel very strongly that our economic growth, our economic future and development lies with all people. That's what we have. And the Caribbean is not short of brain power. And we need to harness that, our abilities. With time and time we've proven our worth internationally, and we need to harness that and put it to work for ourselves in the region.
Erwin LaRock is CARICOM's 7th Secretary General and was installed on August 15, 2011. Throughout the course of the year, we would bring to you reports published by rating services and other financial institutions as they relate to our local economy, the country's spending and deficits. In a discussion with the CARICOM Secretary General Erwin LaRock, he spoke of some reports made and how those are not necessarily a reflection of poor government spending.
The Caribbean Development Bank, in some of its analysis it has done, has found that the debt is not because of poor and bad spending or poor fiscal management. There's a correlation between the spikes in debt and external shocks, whether it's a disaster, whether it's the economic shock, that you don't have the fiscal space and countries have to borrow. Now we have this problem, and the higher your debt stock is a greater drag you are on growth. It's an issue that we have to look at, how we address the debt issue in our community.
LaRock went on to say that the international financial institutions have erred by judging the small states solely on their per capita income.
Many of us, basically because of our size, our per capita income is at a level that the World Bank and the international financial institutions deem us to be middle-income countries. But we know that's only a figure, it's only an arithmetic ratio. it doesn't tell the true story of what happens in our country. There's still a high level of poverty in many of our countries. And so much things to get done in terms of our development. And we feel as small states that the issue of judging us based on per capita income and not taking into account our economic and environmental and social vulnerabilities is an error. And we've been lobbying hard globally on that now. I have taken it part of my personal mission. And I think we're making some success in that, and it's an issue that we need to continue working on.
LaRock departed Belize earlier today after meeting with Prime Minister Dean Barrow.